Welcome back to episode 12 of the Off the Woodwork podcast done by City University of London journalism students. Good afternoon from Sam.
Good afternoon from Kris.
And from me, Pablo. You haven't heard from me in a long time, have you guys?
Yes, welcome back, Pablo. Good to have you back on the podcast. Loads of stuff to talk about today. Plenty of different sports as well to focus on today. So just to start, Kris, you came out shorthand looking confident. What happened?
I did. I think I managed to pass 60 words per minute today, which is happy days. Nothing better than that feeling of achievement in shorthand. But then again, the email has not come through yet, so we shall see.
Yes, that's what happened to me on Thursday. I thought I'd passed 50 words per minute, and then the email came through and said I'd failed, and it ruined my day.
Oh, the worst feeling in the world.
Yes, moving on. Just to start, Pablo, a quick tribute.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the news about Kobe Bryant passing away and his daughter as well, Jana, as well as 8 more people, as TM said. Sports confirmed. Kobe was traveling with at least 8 other people. Now, I saw the information in his private helicopter when it went down. A fire broke out. Emergency personnel responded, but nobody on board survived. Of course, Kobe Bryant, legend and a really inspirational person inside and outside the world of sports for many. So that
yes,
was really sad news.
Very good. Okay, moving on. So to start with the Premier League, and Kris, he was the winner. Yes, he was the winner on Wednesday between the Battle of Tottenham and Norwich. It wasn't the best game, was it?
It was not the most exciting
I
game,
didn't
no.
think you guys played particularly well.
Nope.
Neither did we.
No.
But you got the win, so that's probably all you're sort of bothered about. First half, a bit frantic at times, wasn't it? We had a couple of chances. You had a couple of chances. Then Dele Alli, he put Spurs ahead after him. Todd Cantwell lost the ball in midfield.
Yeah.
Second half, a great game got a bit stretched. I think was the atmosphere a bit nervous?
Yeah, definitely was. As you mentioned, there was plenty more space on the pitch as well. The atmosphere, there's no confidence in the team at the moment. Even when we're playing sides like Norwich, we need a confidence boost, and that win. What counts for Jose at the moment is just getting over the line and getting 3 points. That's the most important thing, and that's what happened on Wednesday against you lot.
Yeah, it was sort of the same old story for us. Even when we equalised, I still got the sense that we probably
concede,
blowed the game. And it was quite unfortunate, but we're not bottom of the table due to bad luck. But quickly moving on from that. The FA Cup 4th round over the weekend. Another win for Norwich in that. We've now won more games in the FA Cup away from home than we have in the Premier League. Bit embarrassing, but we'll take it. A win at Burnley, of all places. Certainly not somewhere I was going to go to.
Tough place to go as well. That's an impressive win. And Norwich, imagine a good run in the FA Cup and then getting relegated. You win the FA Cup and you get relegated in the same season.
It has been done before.
It has been done before.
Wigan 2013.
Exactly.
Yes, so the 5th round, who do we want in the 5th round? I think something competitive, but not too competitive. So we don't want Man City.
No.
But I don't want sort of potential banana skin team either.
At least they might win a title rather than Manchester City this season. So.
Well, that's possible. Spurs in the FA Cup 1-1 away to Southampton.
Once again, it was an entertaining draw. The game was the game was quite fun to watch actually.
Yeah, they're playing well at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. As we mentioned last week, they've moved from the relegation zone up to 9th at the moment in the Premier League. Southampton playing very well, especially at home. It's the same old story with Tottenham as well, going ahead on 58 minutes thanks to Heung-min Son, and then conceding an equaliser very late on in the game. This time, 87th minute, without scoring after Danny Ings assisted. Talking about Danny Ings, what a campaign he's having once again. Assists and goals, and as we've mentioned last week as well, he's giving Gareth Southgate a big headache before selection for the Euros this year.
Yeah, Southampton's record since December is second to none. I don't think they've. I remember well when Norwich, when we played them right at the start of December, they were struggling and they just needed a win from somewhere, and we provided it for them. And from that they've achieved some stunning results. Beat Leicester away, beat Chelsea away, and recovered well under Ralph Hasenhüttl. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, what a story yesterday! Shrewsbury and Liverpool.
What a game that was!
Oh yeah, 2-2. What the hell? I'm still surprised about it.
Yeah, a lot of people saying, looking at Liverpool's team, they rested a lot of players.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah,
they
true.
treated
Yeah.
it.
Of course.
They didn't really get a winter break, if you think about it, did they?
That's true.
So, what do you think about the FA Cup? You know, as a Spurs fan, do you
Yeah.
value it? Because a lot of people say these big clubs, they don't treat it like the competition it is now.
Personally, for me, and many Tottenham fans would agree with me, the FA Cup is realistically the only competition that we can win this season, and to provide sort of any silverware to the fans. The last time we won anything was in 2008, that was Carling Cup, so just get that feeling of winning trophies back. That's what counts the most at the moment. Unfortunately, as we've said a few times already, bigger teams value getting into the top four more than the FA Cup because of financial rewards, simple as that. But for us personally, for the Tottenham fan base, the FA Cup is very important this year because we want to win something, we want to lift something, and we want to have something to cheer about. So this is where we're going with it this season.
So do you feel like the FA Cup is a little bit like an escape room from not getting the title?
The title, realistically,
League
this
title.
season, the title was always going to be decided between Man City and Liverpool. And Liverpool, obviously,
course.
going 16 points ahead already in the table. So that's, for me personally, I think that's sorted. For us this season, we knew that whether it was under Pochettino or Mourinho, this was going to be a transition season. We knew that after reaching the Champions League final, the flair would sort of go away. This is the as far as he could have taken us with no transfers and what he's done for us in the past 6 years. But now again, we need new players, we need new blood, and that's why, for example, today Eriksen has landed in Milan to complete his transfer to Inter Milan. So Lo Celso is going to have to step up and fill Eriksen's boots. But this is where we're going. This is transition, and I think that's why if we win something, it would be a bonus in addition to that.
Sounds good. Another story here was Coventry drawing against Birmingham at
Birmingham
Stadium. So they've got to play replay, and any prizes for any guesses of where that's going to be played?
At the same stadium. And yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. But the away support as well, 9,000 Birmingham fans at the stadium.
So they're probably
surprise.
all criticising the home fans for being in their seat. Fantasy football, we will cover that next week, as Liverpool still have a match this week against West Ham in the Premier League. Pablo, look across the border, La Liga.
Yeah, so it wasn't a good weekend for Barcelona, especially now, because, as you know, Valverde got sacked out 2 weekends ago, and now they have Kris Boratyn. And yeah, it was nice to see how they won 2-0 against Granada in the first game. That was a little bit like, I don't know, it was confusing, but it was good. And then in the cup we played against Ibiza, and we merely won thanks to the 2 goals from Griezmann and the passes from De Jong. But that defeat against Valencia 2-0, and now obviously Real Madrid in top of the league after winning Valladolid. I feel I don't know. I'm still in shock. I think the players just need to get to Kris Boratyn's style. There has been rumors of Rodrigo from Valencia landing to Barcelona, but I don't think. I think the position that they need to improve is defenders. PK and Sergio Busquets are not as good as they were before, I think, in my opinion. So I think they should actually improve all the back defense, and then maybe we can improve this season, but I don't think we're going to get titles.
Yeah, the real question is why the sacking of Valverde at the moment. They were getting results, they were doing well in the Champions League, they were doing okay in the league as well, joint points with Madrid at the top. So for me, the decision to sort of sack him right now is only going to sort of result in more unsettling of the players.
Exactly. The thing is,
rather than making any sort of improvements.
The thing is, if they were going to sack Valverde, why didn't they sack him at the beginning of the season? Yeah. Because then Kris Boratyn is starting all this Barcelona project without a pre-season, and now obviously he's experimenting with the squad, but obviously the players are there and he cannot change everything in just one weekend. So I think they should have sacked Valverde, or obviously keep him this season and then sack him, and then maybe, get Xavi or Quique Setién as well, or even Guardiola. You know?
Moving on from football, just return to that briefly at the end of today's podcast. Big rugby tournament coming up, or over the next month or so.
Yep.
The Six Nations,
Six
one
Nations,
of rugby's most prestigious competitions. Wales, they were the winners last year after beating England in that last game. And Kris, I believe you attended the opening.
I did. I attended the Six Nations launch last week at the Tobacco Docks in London. It was very entertaining. Obviously, the main issue discussed wasn't even the Six Nations; it was the Saracens scandal.
Yes.
With the payment caps and all of that. So that was very entertaining to watch. I've attended a number of press conferences, including the England press conference, the Ireland and Wales press conference.
Was that for work, or did you just turn up? Or?
So one of my mates, he works for Rugby Inside Line,
Nice.
and they deal with sort of rumours and stuff, and he got an invitation +1, so he invited me. So I did some coverage of that on my social media. If you have a look at my Twitter.
Do you ask any questions?
I did not. I was scared of Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones press conferences, infamous for infamous for roasting journalists. But very interesting. And if you have a look at my social media, there will be some photos uploaded on there from the launch. But yeah, very much looking forward to the tournament, which is starting next month. The main points to take away from the launch is that every team except for Scotland are in a transition period, so they have new management, completely new, and England obviously they have new management, so it'll be very interesting to see who wins. But for me, my bet would be on Scotland.
Scotland, okay.
All right.
This weekend we've got Wales against Italy. That's the first game, 2:15 on Saturday. Ireland against Scotland, 5:15 on Saturday, and then France against England. I think is it 3:00? 3:00 on Sunday. So yes, that gets underway and then it continues until mid-March. We'll be talking about that each week as the results progress. Okay, moving on to a bit of cricket, and I just missed a fantastic session of cricket by failing my shorthand test instead.
Was it worth it, Sam?
No, I definitely shouldn't have turned up today. So yeah, the fourth test, England have just won, and I thought after 3 days that they would finish victory, but it was looking tight earlier on today. South Africa were 226 for 4, chasing about 450 to win, which was unlikely, but they were still going strong. Tail of this test then, England batted first at the Wanderers Stadium in Johannesburg and scored 400 in their first innings. Zach Crawley, Joe Root, Ollie Pope all scored half centuries, and then there was an 82-run partnership for the last wicket between bowlers Stuart Broad and Mark Wood. A struggle from South Africa in reply. We reduced them to 88 for 6 by the end of day 2. And then Wood claimed 5 wickets on the morning of day 3 to help bowl South Africa out for just 183. England did not enforce the follow-on, a fairly wise decision, want to rest the bowlers. Instead, they batted to get themselves up to about 450 lead and then finished the job on day 4 today by bowling South Africa out for 274. And it was Wood again in the headlines getting 4 wickets. And yeah, huge victory for Joe Root, really, who's been under a lot of pressure after some of England's recent overseas test tours and the Ashes, of course, which was 2-2 in the summer. The series has been a bit marred though. ICC bans and demerit points have been issued for Kagiso Rabada, Ben Stokes and Vernon Philander. Rabada, he was banned for 1 test for his reaction to bowling out skipper Joe Root. Basically, he celebrated right in front of him. It's child's play really. Stokes, he got a demerit point and a fine of 15% of his match fee for an altercation with a supporter when walking off after being dismissed. You can look that one up, and it's quite funny to be honest, but it's obviously not the way he should be behaving. And finally, Philander, he got fined 15% of his match fee and given a demerit point for his send-off of Joss Buttler, who had earlier had a bit of a war of words with him in the second test. But it's a bit pointless for Philander to get a demerit point. For those of you who don't know, if you get 4 demerit points, you get a 1-test ban, but Philander's retiring after this test, so there was no point giving him that point. But they did anyway. So yeah, just to open this up to other sports, football's doesn't really punish players that much, does it? But should the rules be a bit less harsh when it comes to like player bans, fines, demerit points, just for kind of things that you more say just competitive, like you celebrate in front of someone. Like, it's like in football when you score a goal and you celebrate in front of the other team, don't you?
Yeah, the things I don't understand, and I'm sure in football, especially what we're referring to, is, for example, players celebrating, taking their shirts off, or trying to celebrate with fans as well, going over towards stands and jumping in the crowds. Now, obviously, they're dealing with safety issues, but for me, taking a shirt, and unless there's like a provocative message or something really rude or something like that, then fair enough, it's a yellow card or punish the player. But if it's got some sort of inspirational message, or he just takes a shirt off in the heat of the moment, I don't think that should be punished. And the same goes for celebrating with supporters as well. What is it? What is football without supporters and celebrations?
Mm-hmm.
So if a player decides to run over towards supporters to get as close as possible, or even sometimes to jump into them, the stewards are all over them straight away, trying to move the player away and stuff like that. I think celebrations should be allowed. I know there are safety issues and stuff like that. But when it comes to on-pitch situations, I think the severity of punishment should be based on possibly the result or the consequence of the tackle. So, for example, I'm referring to the Son and Andre Gomez tackle during the Everton game. Son received a red card, and he was back.
Also, I was thinking on the... was it 2014 Zapata tackling Neymar as well?
Yeah.
He got the red card as well.
Yeah, it's
That kind of...
Just going back to the Gomez incident, Son didn't do anything. I know I'm a bit biased here. The severity, obviously, of the injury was ridiculous, and Andre Gomez is recovering quite well, which is good. But it's just sort of put into perspective, into context, not to have just black and white rules which apply to everything. Have a bit of room to sort of manoeuvre around it.
Very good. Pretty much agree with everything you said. Obviously, making gestures sometimes is inappropriate, isn't it? And
of course.
should be banned. But like taking your shirt off or jumping into the crowd. Obviously, the referee's got to do his job and give the yellow card, but that's because the rules are there. Just a bit more cricket here. The Big Bash, the Australian 2020 League, that's nearing its conclusion. The competition has been taking place all over the country since mid-December. This year it's the Melbourne Stars. They topped the table with 20 points after recording an impressive 10 wins from 14 matches, and they're closely followed by the Sydney Sixers, 19 points, and the Adelaide Strikers with 17 points. The table tightens from that point onwards, with 4 teams separated by just a point. However, it was the Hobart Hurricanes who claimed 4th place with 13 points on net run rate. The Melbourne Renegades take the wooden spoon this year after a tough campaign for them. They did win today, but they won 3 times in just 14 matches. And only 2 matches this year where there was no result thanks to the weather. So, pretty lucky in that sense. Keeping in Australia, the Australian Open tennis. We've had that taking place in Melbourne Park. Roger Federer, he's through to the last 8. Novak Djokovic will face Milos Raonic. Nick Kyrgios, he played Rafa Nadal today, and it was a win for Nadal. Very good game, 3-1, 2 tie breaks in there as well. Serena Williams, she was knocked out in the 3rd round, while Joe Conta suffered a shock 1st round exit. So, who do you reckon's going to win then? Federer, 20 Grand Slams, Nadal 19, Djokovic 16 Grand Slams.
Yeah.
Can Federer win another one?
Oh, this is going to be
I always
close.
go for Nadal, man. That's my... always there.
It's always very close, and as soon as we get to the semi-final stage, we usually have all 3 of them in them, unless the draw is different. But I fancy Djokovic this year once again. I think he's capable of winning again. But having said that, completely unpredictable.
Yeah, Djokovic is one of those players. I just sort of can't get my head around when I watch his return of serve is just like unbelievable. And then obviously, with like Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, it's just the fitness. Just they can last those long matches. And like today, Nadal ground out that win against Kyrgios.
That's why they're the best. It's really hard to decide which one is gonna win. So.
Okay, bit of darts at PDC Q School 2020. So if you don't know what Q School is, they've got this for snooker as well. It's an event where anyone can enter with a chance of winning a PDC tour card, which means you're able to play at most of the PDC darts events throughout the year. 128 players in total have tour cards, and 12 more can be claimed from Q School, which takes place in Wigan in the UK, and then also at a venue in another place in Europe. And yeah, simple to enter. You could enter it, I could enter it.
Anyone can enter it.
Pay 450 quid and play knockout matches over the course of 4 days. So yeah, UK Q School, this is who got a tour card this year. Jason Lowe and Gary Blades on day 1. Day 2, Kai Fan Lung, Bradley Brooks. Day 3, Jeff Smith and Aaron Beanie. And day 4, Nick Kenny and Scott Waits. And yes, if you want to know what they were up against, the first day had 506 players, second day 503, third day 461, and fourth day 469. So
my gosh.
That's a lot.
you've got to play a lot of matches.
That's a lot of players, yes.
Although the matches are short, they're only first to 5 legs. That's still a lot of matches
That's a lot
over the
of matches
course
to
of
play.
No,
time.
still, yeah.
And in European Q School, get ready for some bad pronunciation here. We've got Harold Leitinger, Mike Dedecker, Karol Sedlacek, and Stefan Siepman qualified from there. So, yeah, this system, I think, do you think it works? Like, it sort of allows those more unknown players
Yeah.
to perhaps break into
Yeah,
darts
of
without
course.
having to necessarily know people, and you know,
I
you
mean,
just pay your money and
Yeah,
you have a
exactly.
chance.
Yeah, 100%. There's no pressure as well. If you win, great, fantastic, you're in. If you don't win, there's no pressure and you've lost. And
Yeah,
obviously
of
the
course.
amount of players, it takes a lot of games. But are they televised, the games, or not?
They're
really?
not televised,
They're not
no. You
televised,
can
so-
sort of follow live updates.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Although
fair
there was a
enough.
player who averaged about 32, and that's not
All
very
right.
good. My average is about 61, 62.
Yeah.
So
Gives you
not
some
sure
perspective.
why that person paid
But
450
still,
quid.
like, oh, wow.
Okay, on to our preview section for the next week of sport. A couple of Carabao Cup games coming up over the next 2 days. Aston Villa and Leicester, that one's tied at 1-1, and Man City, Man United, 3-0 to Man City at the moment. Yeah, let's quickly discuss Man United, actually. A lot of their fans, I saw this post on
Yeah.
Twitter, this picture of Old Trafford and
And the wires and
yeah, like
stuff.
a
Yeah.
grim
Yeah.
background. Is it really as... Obviously, we're not Man United fans, but
No.
do you think it's really as bad as they're making it out to be?
No, definitely not. I mean, they're not. United fans are not used to any kind of failures. So having not been at the top for what is it now, 6 years or so,
Yeah.
something like that, it's probably very difficult for them to take. But the post you mentioned, which is the grim background, and then it's got wires at the front of the picture, and it says "Give me our club back" or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. There are going to be some downs during your time. You cannot expect a football club to be at the top all the time. But I guess because the fan base is so used to success and trophies, it's very difficult for them to take it at the moment, and it's been going on for quite a while, so they expect instant sort of resurgence of the club. But it takes time and it takes patience.
I
Yeah.
think that's actually something that happens to Barcelona as well.
Mm.
The whole Manchester United, the fans from Barcelona are kind of willing to have that golden era still, but obviously it's not going to be the same anymore. And you don't have the players that won all those trophies. So you have, directives that they're basically paying money for superstars, but they're actually not in the style of your team,
Yeah.
So
Yes, the Premier League this weekend. Well, yeah, we know Tottenham are playing. First up with Norwich,
I
and
think
away,
we'll
an
win.
away trip to Newcastle. Newcastle, one of the most unpredictable teams in the league.
Very tough place to go.
You don't know if they're going to turn up, but it's whether we turn up, really.
Yeah.
That's going to make that difference. So, yeah, 6 points adrift at the moment, Norwich. Still, obviously, within a chance, but very, very difficult next few games. It's Newcastle, then it's Liverpool, then it's Wolves, then it's Leicester. So, if we can get 6 points from those 4 games, that would be fantastic. Do I expect that or to get more? Probably not, but got to keep hope until that R
Yeah,
is next
true.
to our name. And Sunday, 4:30, a big one. Big one.
At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Tottenham. Tottenham will be facing Manchester City. Spurs currently in 6th, 6 points behind Chelsea in 4th place in the table. And City, as we know, in 2nd, 16 points behind Liverpool. It will be a big one. Tottenham especially trying to get into the top 4, battling Chelsea, United and Leicester on the way, but a very exciting tie. Tottenham, we can turn up against big teams, but if we do not, then it could be an absolute thrashing. We
Pep
shall
Guardiola
find out.
against Mourinho once again.
Pablo La Liga this weekend.
Yeah, so the 2 big matches are obviously the Madrid derby, Real Madrid against Atletico. I hope Atletico can win this one. Obviously, for helping Barcelona, I hope so. But I think Real Madrid, what happens is that all these seasons, they start, let's say, they start so badly, but somehow in the middle of the season, they just grow smoothly and they just go up. And I think Barcelona, if they just focus, I think they can win against Levante, but I don't think, I'm just going to say Real Madrid is going to win, Barcelona is going to win, and they're going to be like Barcelona in second and Real Madrid on the top for this weekend. Yeah.
Okay, I already mentioned again, the Six Nations, that gets underway this weekend. Wales against Italy, Saturday 2:15. Ireland against Scotland, Saturday 4:45. France against England, Sunday 3 p.m. A little bit more cricket on. No break in the cricket for England as their limited overs matches, they get underway against South Africa, I think next week. We'll also be talking about the Under-19 Cricket World Cup next week. That continues in South Africa at the moment. And yeah, as I said, the Big Bash League almost at its conclusion with eliminators and playoffs taking place over the next few days. And just finally, the Darts World Masters. Yes, the annual Ladbrokes Darts Masters. They take place this weekend in Milton Keynes over the course of Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I'm lucky enough to have a ticket for the Sunday afternoon session, so that'll be a nice event for me to tick off. And yeah, always a good tournament, that one. A difficult one to qualify for, so I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of quality darts on show. So yes, 1 week down to our second week of university. It's just so short though, isn't it? Like we've only actually got 8 and a bit.
8 and a bit weeks.
Yeah.
Till we finish second year.
Yeah, and then
It's going to go so fast.
and then like we get to the start of April and that's it.
That's it. That's literally
So yeah, we'll update you with how it goes in terms of our course, our careers, as it happens. And yeah, other than that, it's time for me. It's back to the drawing board, more shorthand.
Same for me. Goodbye.
Goodbye.